All right, everybody, I want to describe what we're going to do for our yellow plus blue titration, okay? The liquid that I put into the burette is a hydrochloric acid solution, and it has a color to it because we put bromothymol blue in it. If you remember from our pH experiments, bromothymol blue in an acid solution will turn kind of a yellow color. We're going to be titrating a sample of base, some sodium hydroxide, also with bromothymol blue in it. And since sodium hydroxide is a base, it'll turn blue in bromothymol blue. So before we kind of get started, one thing that is usually a pretty good lab practice is that you'll notice that in the burette, right now there's no liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and just drain a little bit of liquid out so that there's liquid in our burette. The first couple trials you do this, you're not going to be keeping track of how much you use, but when you do, this would need to be filled before you start. And then we'd also be recording our volume in our burette. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. We're going to be putting our base into this Erlenmeyer flask. These are really good for swirling without mixing, or without spilling, I should say. And we're going to put 5 milliliters of our bromothymol blue. So I've got a graduate cylinder. I'm going to measure out 5 milliliters. And then put this into our flask here. And then I'm going to add 5 milliliters of water into here, and then add that to our Erlenmeyer flask as well. This is going to serve two functions. One function is going to be that it would rinse any remaining liquid in here, and you might be able to tell there's a little bit of a color to it. So it's going to rinse that out to make sure that we got all of that 5 milliliters that we wanted to out of there. It's also going to make our color change look a little bit more clear. All right. So what you're going to do in labs is you're going to have a piece of white paper underneath your flask here as we titrate our sample. And then I'm going to put this white paper back here so hopefully we can see this titration a little bit better. All right. So when you mix an acid with a base, what you're going to get is that you're going to get make what's called a salt and water. And so basically what we're doing is we're neutralizing the base that's in here with the acid from our burette. And so basically the goal here is to make water. And water is neutral, and in bromothymol blue, when it's neutral, is green. So that's what we want to try to do. So we want to try to do is that we want to try to add our, and I'm going to start adding dropwise. And I'm starting adding some of our acid there, and what we're looking for is a color change. Now it's hard from the angle of the there we go. So actually may have hit it just randomly by accident. Ideally what we want to try to do is go really slow so that when we add that one drop and then it turns green, but I think I got kind of lucky on that one. So hopefully that you can see that it kind of turns green. But we want to do it probably a little bit more slowly than I did there. But I did get to that green endpoint, which is what we want. And again, ideally what we want to do is that we want to have one drop of our titrant to make our color change and to have that color change stay. And the color change that we are looking for here is green. If we went too far, then it would turn yellow. If it had turned yellow, then we knew that we added too much titrant. And if that was the case, then what would happen is we would have to start over. All right, we'd have to dump everything out in our Erlenmeyer flask and then start over. All right, thanks for watching.